Good afternoon, everybody. Thanks for coming along for the ride for today. Friday, September 26th, new edition of the Todd Allbaugh Show begins in about 30 seconds. There's a last-minute political news about the governor's race. Maybe three is a crowd. I don't know. We'll find out.
From the Civic Media World Headquarters in Madison, Wisconsin, it's the Todd Allbaugh Show. And now, pursuing truth wherever it may lead, here's your host, Todd Allbaugh.
Across Wisconsin on the Civic Media Radio Network and streaming worldwide on the Civic Media app. Good afternoon, everybody. Todd Allbaugh along with Mr. Aaron Zommers on the board. It is 6 minutes past the hour of 2 o'clock on this Friday, TGIF, September 26, 2025. Welcome, everybody. It's a great day to be a Wisconsinite. Glad to have you along at the world headquarters of Civic Media, downtown Madison, intersection of State Street and Fairchild. Beautiful. Let's take a look at the Sam Davidson street cam, Mr. Zommers. Beautiful day out there in downtown Madison, blue skies, leaves just starting to get a little bit more yellow day by day. How are you?
Doing all right, very tired today. It happens sometimes, yes. Despite the bright sunshine outside.
Yeah, it's beautiful. Going to be beautiful weather this weekend. Look, there's a biker for those watching on the stream, Facebook, YouTube, Twitter.
A couple of them.
And
a bus.
And a huge bus going by. Watch out.
The big, stretchy bus.
Yeah, exactly. Going to be a great weekend. Brittany Merlot and the meteorological team telling us to get outside near record temperatures in parts of Wisconsin tomorrow in the low to mid 80s for highs, sunny skies, no Badger football tomorrow. Perhaps, thank goodness. But I do have my my Green Bay Packer polo shirt on. Packers going to Green Bay or to Dallas to take on the Jerry Joneses and the Dallas Cowboys this weekend. So we'll talk a little bit about Mike Clemens, our great sports reporter, having updates on that throughout the weekend. So that's fantastic. At the bottom of this hour, we're going to have Brady Ewing, our friend and ongoing contributor, former Badger football player and NFL veteran going to talk a little bit about the brouhaha with Barry Alvarez calling out fans and get Brady's take as a player, both collegiately and as a professional. How much does it affect you when fans kind of turn on you, your own fans? And then what is the it factor with the Brewers? Going to hear from Pat Murphy again, the manager of the Crew. Of course, had the big pancake breakfast this morning at AmFam Field. Looked like a huge turnout. We're going to hear from Pat Murphy on what he told the crowd this morning in Milwaukee as the Brewers return home tonight to close out the regular season against the Cincinnati Reds. So that should be a great, you can hear it on several of the stations here on Civic Media later on tonight. We'll talk about that a little bit later with Brady as well. And bow season. If you're a bow hunter with archery bow season for deer hunting, that begins this weekend as well. So, and it's always fun talking to Brady. So that's a lot of fun. Looking forward to that.
That it always is. With it being bow hunting opening up this weekend, yes, and my dad freshly retired, I know exactly where he's going to be.
Be in a stand somewhere, yeah.
Yeah.
Probably. It'll be a great weekend. A little warm, but a great weekend to do it. Before I forget, my favorite oldest godson, Alex Kohler. His birthday is tomorrow.
Happy early birthday.
On the 27th. So a shout out to my ahijado, as they say in Spanish. Alex, happy birthday to you. He'll probably be celebrating with his wonderful girlfriend, partner. We're all waiting for him to pop the question eventually.
Oh, really?
Look, they're very happy, and why spoil it with a wedding? They've been together a long time. They get along great. They're down there in beautiful Indianapolis. So happy birthday, Alex. Hope you and Keegan have a great weekend this weekend down there in Indy. So big show coming up. Of course, we got what's worse for you today. Coffee and beer has to do with that. So we'll talk a little bit more about that. And the old green and gold text to win contest in hour number 2. But at 10 minutes past the hour of 2 o'clock, we have breaking news for you.
Another one bites the dust. Another one bites the dust. And another one gone, and another one gone. Another one bites the dust.
That's right.
Hey,
This is big news from the Republican side of the aisle on the Wisconsin gubernatorial race. Fresh in, right before we came on the air, courtesy of Matt Smith at WISN in Milwaukee Television. Republican businessman Bill Berrien is dropping out of the race for governor. It comes just days after the Milwaukee Journal-Sentinel reported that Berrien followed several sexually explicit writers online. Matt Smith says Berrien tells him he does not see a path forward. In a statement, Bill Berrien said, quote, "As a result of our politics today, I cannot focus on the issues I know will turn Wisconsin around. I have come to the conclusion I do not have a path to the nomination."
You know what
Unquote.
Gen Z and Gen Alpha would say about this?
What would they say?
Skill issue.
What is it?
Skill issue.
Skill issue. All right.
You can't focus? Well, it's your own fault. You suck, kind of thing.
Look, I love every part about this story. And we covered this, Dan Bice, a great writer at the Journal-Sentinel, earlier this week, had some great reporting. And we'll get into that in a minute. But today's announcement that Bill Berrien is pulling out comes after WBAY television reported news from your hometown, Mr. Zommers. In Manitowoc, Governor candidate Bill Berrien canceled a Republican event appearance in Manitowoc. He was supposed to be the keynote speaker at a Manitowoc County Republican event taking place at Lincoln Park. However, a few minutes before 6 o'clock last night, organizers placed a call to his campaign and were told Berrien would not be showing up and decided to cancel after what they described as a very rough week.
Yeah.
You think? The county, get this, the county chair then made the announcement to the crowd inside the shelter, and some people applauded.
Yeah. I bet I know what this was. And yeah, that's just hilarious.
The controversy continues to attract national attention. And as of last night, WBAY reported in Green Bay it could impact his support with Republican voters and the Republican leader. This is a fantastic quote from Colin Barnell, the chairman of the Manitowoc County Republican Party. The chairman said, quote, "I'm not too pleased about it as we try to put forward candidates that are of the utmost character and caliber. I was disappointed to see that those headlines as we try to get our Republicans elected to office. Obviously, this is not something that's beneficial to the Republicans running for office. So I was very disappointed at this as well." Unquote. You think that's how he talks?
Very possibly.
Berrien called it, this whole incident, quote, a garbage political hit, unquote. A garbage political hit, unquote. Here's the deal. And we talked about this with our friend Dan Schaefer, political editor and founder of the Recombobulation Area. It's not the fact that, this is salacious and somebody is following adult content online. That in and of itself, as long as all those involved are legal and it's consensual, look, people can do whatever they want in their private lives. What makes this news is this guy, Bill Berrien, spent millions of dollars on ads, by the way, and he made attacking people such as trans individuals and others in the LGBTQ plus community, made that he's the one that made it an issue and said, "I'm going after these folks because they're bad." All right? That's the issue here. And then Dan Bice does what Dan Bice does, which is digs into things. And by the way, this is a quote from a recent Bill Berrien ad. Quote, "Take it from a dad and a coach. I will keep boys out of our daughters' sports and locker rooms." Unquote. He also said he wanted to protect our daughters' sports. Unquote. He followed and this is all public knowledge that Dan Bice uncovered. There's a platform, I guess like Substack, but an older one called Medium.com. Medium.com. And it turns out Berrien has an account on Medium.com that was or is following a transgender porn star named Jiz Lee and several other authors of sexually explicit essays. Now, if that wasn't enough, he also followed Octavio Morrison, who is author of 7 Types of Orgasmic Sensations and 3 Terrible Reasons to Have a Threesome. Also followed Emma Austin, who calls herself, quote, a wholesome perv with a touch of whimsy, unquote, and who posted articles such as, quote, I love getting jackhammered, unquote.
And, again, none of this stuff would matter.
But not exactly what you would expect a guy like Bill Berrien, who's calling out and trying to vilify the trans community. You wouldn't expect a guy like that to follow things like this.
Well, actually, I would.
Well,
because this tends to happen.
This tends to happen.
It's often projection.
Here's another one. Another article that Bill Berrien liked on this public platform. Article called, quote, my husband loves watching me flirt with another man, unquote, and who identifies as a queer, trans, non-binary adult performer. Now, Berrien's campaign said there was nothing hypocritical about it. I'm laughing because it's so preposterous. And clearly it is because the guy just dropped out.
Yeah.
So also, one more. He also was liking and following another author named Sherry Mail, who authored a column called, quote, 9 Types of Couples Who Want, let me get it right, 9 Types of Couples Who Want to Have a Threesome with You. 3 parts for transformative orgasmic pleasure, unquote. I mean, did he really think he was going to get away with this?
Well, it was years ago.
Yes, in this article from WBAY in Green Bay, the adult actor Jiz Lee put out this quote saying, quote, it's okay to follow trans porn stars. It's okay to read articles about sex and relationships. What's not okay is the hypocrisy of backing forceful legislation that restricts what people, trans and otherwise, can do with their own bodies. That is shameful, unquote. She posted that on Blue Sky.
And yeah, 100% agree.
100% agree with her. Absolutely. The chairman of the Manitowoc County Party says, I think we have some other great candidates out there as well. So I think that people can use their own discrimination in weighing Bill Berrien versus those other candidates. So it appears now, the announcement now, the Bill Berrien has pulled out, which for conservatives is the preferred method.
Yes.
And it also appears that with Tom, this comes the day after Tom Tiffany, or 2 days after Tom Tiffany got in. So you had Tom Tiffany, you had Washington County Executive Josh Showman, and with Bill Berrien finally found a threesome that he was not comfortable being a part of. So Bill Berrien, gone.
Come and knock on our door.
He didn't want it.
We've been waiting for you.
He was playing Mr.
Where the
Roper.
kisses are hers and his. Three's company too.
Bill Berrien says, I'm out of here. I can't take this type of threesome. It's down to 2 on the Republican side. We'll come on back, discuss other news of the day on Civic Media's Radio Network.
You'll see that life is a ball again. Laughter is calling for you. Down at our rendezvous. Three's company too.
That may have been the greatest outro we've ever had.
That worked. The timing worked really well, actually.
Diabetes, high blood pressure, anxiety meds, everyone's on them. If you're a 50-year-old male, maybe a bit porky, and you may even have type 2 diabetes, $1 million of term insurance may only cost you about $200 a month. Call Term Provider. Speak with Big Lou at 800-859-3220. Big Lou will find a term life policy for you even if you have type 2 diabetes, are overweight, or have high blood pressure. Term Provider has helped thousands of people like you who think they can't afford term life insurance. To buy $1 million of affordable term life for you, all you need to do is call Big Lou at 800-859-3220. Lou will make sure the scales are tipped in your favor. Call 800-859-3220. Big Lou will answer your call and work to fit you into a term life policy that you can afford. Remember, Big Lou's like you. He's on meds too. Call 800-859-3220 or biglou.com.
Get ready, Madison. El Sazon Jarocho is now open on Plaza Drive. 5-star authentic Mexican cuisine. Fresh, homemade, and the best prices in town. CY1 review said, best tacos I've ever had in my life. El Sazon Jarocho. You won't leave hungry.
Parker says true
Now
Zombers.
is the moment
Just
we've
be
been
better.
waiting for. With new treatments emerging in the fight against Alzheimer's and all other dementia, now is the time for hope and for action. Held in over 600 communities nationwide, the Alzheimer's Association Walk to End Alzheimer's is the world's largest fundraiser for care, support, and research to fight the disease. So get out, get moving, and join WMDX at the Walk to End Alzheimer's on Sunday, October 5th at Warner Park in Madison. Join the movement at alz.org/walk.
Get ready to go for the green and gold on this local civic media radio station. Listen each weekday for the keywords to text for your chance to win our daily prize, $200 cash and gold jewelry. And be entered to win our grand prize, 2 indoor club level seats to see the green and gold take on Minnesota in Green Bay. Just download our free civic media app and listen weekdays at 7, 9, 11.
20 seconds.
Gracias.
One, two, three, not only you and me, got 180 degrees and I'm caught in between, counting 1, 2, 3, Peter, Paul, Mary, getting down with 3P, everybody loves counting.
Welcome back to the Todd Allbaugh Show on a TGIF Friday afternoon. Just me and Zommers, nobody else.
Just 2, not 3.
Just 2, not 3.
Britney Spears might be singing about 3.
Britney Spears.
But for us, just 2.
Just 2. Welcome back to the show. I knew it was going to be a good show before we started, and then right before we came on the air, this all hit, and I said, now it's going to be a great show. People in my former party cannot help themselves. And it all goes back to what my granddad used to say growing up, when he said, be careful who you point the finger at, because there's always 3 pointing back at you. And he's still right.
And similarly, thou doth protest too much.
Yeah. And the Bill Berrien, I mean, as long as it's legal, consensual content, Bill Berrien can do whatever he wants, but don't attack people for doing what you're doing behind closed doors. Don't be the hypocrite. So now we're down to just 2, Josh Schoeman and Tom Tiffany on the Republican side for gubernatorial candidate. Also, more hot and fast today. More breaking news right before we came on the air. This is courtesy of Brian Stetler of CNN. Sinclair today announced that it will be ending its preemption of Jimmy Kimmel Live, and the show will return this evening on Sinclair's ABC affiliates. Big news. Stetler also published the entire statement from Sinclair. And this is huge, as we talked with Keegan Kelly of Crack.com yesterday. What Donald Trump and Nexstar and Sinclair, the 2 big private companies that hold ABC affiliate stations, they went to war with Jimmy Kimmel and Disney and really the public, and thought that they could strong arm and get rid of a voice, free speech. And what has actually happened here, thanks to Americans, is it's backfired. And it's shown once again, just like what the mayor of Chicago and the governor of Illinois, when you stand up to a bully, that was over bringing military and full active military and ICE and also potentially National Guard troops into Chicago. And the mayor and the governor said, no, it's not going to happen here. And Trump backed away. Well, now in this statement, I'm going to read a little bit to you, statement from Sinclair saying, quote, our objective throughout this process has been to ensure that programming remains accurate and engaging the widest possible audience. We take seriously our responsibility as local broadcasters to provide programming that serves the interest of our communities while also honoring our obligations to air national network programming. Gonna summarize the next part of it. Basically, it's saying that they've gotten thoughtful feedback from viewers. I bet they have. Some not so thoughtful, I'm sure. And here's what it gets interesting. Quote, these proposals were suggested as collaborative efforts between ABC affiliates and ABC Network. While ABC and Disney have not yet adopted these measures, and Sinclair respects their right to make those decisions under our network affiliate agreements, we believe such measures could strengthen trust and accountability, unquote. Preceding that, what Sinclair is proposing is what Paramount, Skydance agreed to do at CBS, which was appoint an ombudsman, a watchdog, who is pro-Trump. But Disney said, no, we're not doing it. ABC said, no, we're not doing it. And we talked about this yesterday with Keegan. There were reports, although unconfirmed, but reports that Disney said to Sinclair and the other big affiliate holder, Nexstar, hey, you don't want to air Jimmy Kimmel? Fine. Guess what? You also don't get Monday Night Football and ABC's World News Tonight with David Muir. Two big properties. And call their bluff. And now we'll see what Nexstar does. But Sinclair is backed down. They say in their statement, quote, our decision to preempt this program was independent of any government action or influence. Free speech provides broadcasters with the right to exercise judgment as to the content on their local stations. While we understand not everyone will agree with our decisions about programming, it is simply inconsistent to champion free speech while demanding that broadcasters air specific content, unquote. So Jimmy Kimmel, the big winner. As it should be, by the way. And we've said before, very proud of this network, this company. They have made clear to me and every other on-air host that we are not being censored. There should be no fear of coming in every day that, oh my gosh, if I say something, I'm going to get in trouble. I mean, obviously, we can't come on here and tell bold-faced lies or intentionally misdirect people. But as long as what is an opinion based in truth, and we're giving our opinion on something that is factual, Civic has made it clear that, look, we're behind you. And that means a lot. And that means hopefully a lot to our listening and viewing audience, because what you can expect then is that what Civic puts on from our news department, which is separate from the talk side, but our reporters on the news side are going to pass on to you, report to you the truth. Unfiltered, whether that's bad for Republicans or bad for Democrats. They're going to tell you how, what, when, where, why, and how. On the talk side, I can only speak for this program, but I'm pretty confident my colleagues as well. We're not going to come on here and gin people up with things that are untrue, and we're also not going to hold back the truth for fear of retribution from the FCC or anybody else. And that's the way it should be. There's a lot of things on conservative talk radio in this state that I do not agree with, but I support their right to go on the air and say it. So good for Jimmy Kimmel, good for Disney, good for ABC. We're going to come back, talk with Brady Ewing about free speech of Barry Alvarez. We'll play the cut, get Brady's opinion, bow hunting, and more. But first, the farm news with our friend Pam Yonke on the Midwest Farm Report. Don't go anywhere. It's the Allbaugh Show for a Friday on the Civic Media Radio Network.
MDX. Because silence makes you
Do you have
nervous.
that cut from Barry yet? Or,
Catch
send it to you
Farm Report
again.
updates throughout the
I
day
forgot to
from
send.
the
I
Midwest
forgot
Farm
to
Report,
resend it here
right
before the
here
show.
on
I'll find
92.7
it.
WMDX. Cattle have started to arrive for World Dairy Expo. I'm Pam Yankee with a quick update on what's happening in food and farming news on a Friday. Somewhere in the neighborhood of 3,500 entries for cattle that wanted to be a part of the show this year. Before they can, an
Just send it to
inspection
you
takes place. Tell you more about that next.
From sugar beet fields to dairy facilities, producers count on an operating line of credit from Ag Country Farm Credit Services to help make their operations more profitable. With multi-year commitment options, digital tools and remote deposit, and the ability to only borrow what you need when you need it, our operating line of credit makes financing your needs easier. Visit agcountry.com/line of credit or call 800-450-9858 to learn more. Terms apply. See website for details.
At the Department of Agriculture, Trade, and Consumer Protection, they know your business has always been something special. Now you can let customers know it too, in an instant, with the red and yellow Something Special from Wisconsin sticker. Joining the program
Also,
gives you access to supplier and distribution
Sinclair may have
information,
said it
marketing
was
support,
independent
and a
of anything
community of
else,
like-minded
but
Wisconsin businesses. Best
in
of
their
all, you let
statement
people know that
the
your
other
work
day
is done with
on the
care,
17th,
quality, and love. You've always
they
been something
said,
special. Visit
let's see, where is it?
somethingspecialfromwisconsin.com
Quote,
to make
we
it
believe
official.
broadcasters have a responsibility to educate and elevate respectful, constructive dialogue in our communities. We appreciate FCC Chairman Carr's remarks today, and this incident highlights the critical need for the FCC to take immediate regulatory action. So they said it's independent, and then in that same press release said, thanks for your little mafia call out saying, dang, it would be a shame if something happened to your station.
For any lactating
Well, they
cow,
changed,
we
obviously,
also will be
you know.
evaluating to make sure they have a negative bird flu or avian
So they
influenza
directly
test.
name dropped him after he
We'll
went on that
then
podcast
visually
or whatever.
inspect
And
each animal as it comes off the trailer for any evidence of contagious infectious disease. So things like ringworm, warts, are kind of the main.
Oh crap!
skin
It's not Brady's not now.
that we'll be looking
He's
for
at
that can be
3:30.
he's next. Oh, did you say he's right now?
Chelsea Holzbach from the School of Veterinary Medicine on the UW-Madison campus, just one of the veterinarians that was on duty yesterday.
Yeah, I'm
trying to
getting ahead of
take in
myself.
More than 22.
I'm used to him being on at this time.
For World Dairy Expo, which officially begins on Tuesday. One of the reasons why those dairy cattle are inspected before they're allowed to enter
That's
World
fine. We'll
Dairy
do
Expo
the
grounds
we'll
is
do the James
out
Comey stuff.
high-path avian influenza from our dairy population. Yesterday, the Wisconsin Department of Ag, Trade, and Consumer Protection announced that they'd identified a case of high-path avian influenza in a commercial poultry
The
flock.
document we
in
looked at earlier has
Jefferson
been
County.
updated.
High-path avian influenza
Oh,
in
wow.
Wisconsin has not been detected in our dairy population, but other states have not been so fortunate. That's a quick update on food news for Friday. I'm Pam Yankee. Farm news that impacts you and your community from the Midwest Farm Report throughout your day on 92.7 WMDX.
I'm meteorologist Brandon Bormans. Sunny skies today with highs in the upper 70s to near 80. For tonight, patchy fog possible late. Otherwise, partly cloudy with lows in the mid-50s. Feeling more like July as opposed to September on Saturday. Sunny skies with highs in the low to mid-80s. It's 80 degrees at our studios.
Where working people come to talk. It's The Rick Smith Show, weeknights at 9 on the Civic Media Radio Network. Join me for an honest approach to the issues American working families care about. No talking points, no focus groups. Get ready for a heavy dose of democracy, fairness, grit, and no apologies. It's current affairs from a working class labor perspective. Facts are center, science is real, and everyone gets a seat at the table. The Rick Smith Show, weeknights at 9 on the Civic Media Radio Network.
Hey there, Wisconsin. Tom Hartman here. Democracy is not a spectator sport, so join me each and every week.
30 seconds.
Gracias. Pursuing truth wherever it may lead. fun doing it. Welcome back to Todd Allbaugh Show on the Civic Media Radio Network. 35 minutes now past the hour, 2 o'clock on a Friday, TGIF, September 26, 2025. Coming up on our 3-year anniversary, Zombers, in next month.
Yeah, is that-
Well, no, November, I guess.
Yeah, November 14th, right?
Yeah, exactly. And I think, correct me if I'm wrong, pursuing truth wherever it may lead and having fun doing it, that was from day one.
Well, pursuing truth wherever
Right.
it may lead was
And-
day
and
one.
then we added on.
We
having
added
fun.
having fun doing it. Yeah.
Because at the end of the day, we want to have some fun too. So there you go. Fantastic. By the way, in my senility, in my old age, in my exuberance on Bill Berrien pulling out of the Wisconsin governor's race, I misspoke. Brady Ewing is at 3:30 today. For a long time, he was at 2:30, and then he said, well, why don't we try 3:30? And I said, absolutely. So Brady will be here an hour from now. Set your alarm clocks. The kids will be coming home from school, and sit them down, because Brady is great at talking to people of all ages, from the old to young, anybody in between. We'll be talking sports with Brady Ewing at 3:35. 3:35, Zombers. So I want to finish a couple more minutes on this Sinclair bit. Sinclair announcing that they are going to reinstate Jimmy Kimmel tonight on Jimmy Kimmel Live on ABC. And worth noting, and Zomer and I were talking about this over the break, that Sinclair has already changed their position a little bit of cleaning things up. And I think this is reflective over, again, what Keegan Kelly and I talked about yesterday, which is this is a big moment. And it has maybe less to do with late night, although that is going to be the immediate benefactor, in my opinion, of all this. It has to do with free speech for all of media and all of broadcasting. And the important takeaway is here, I think, that if you stand up to a bully, in this case, Trump and the Trump administration, you're better off than bending a knee and politically genuflecting and saying, yes, whatever you want. Because they'll just keep on coming at you. So Sinclair, Zomer, as you said, changed. We don't need to go deep into it, but just the main point of it.
Yeah, the main point. On the 17th, when Jimmy Kimmel
was suspended.
This was when the when the FCC chairman Brendan Carr went on a podcast and said, that, this is the sickest behavior possible, very mafia boss type behavior. Sinclair posted a press release on their website, and they said, quote, "We appreciate FCC Chairman Carr's remarks today, and this incident highlights the critical need for the FCC to take immediate regulatory action to address control held over local broadcasters," unquote. Interesting. So you say this was an independent decision, and then you name the mafia don who said it'd be a shame if something happens to your TV network.
Right. And again, I think Sinclair, as they say, has got religion. They figured it out, that they're on the losing side of this, because clearly, if reports are true, and to be clear, they were never substantiated, but it came from a number of sources, that ABC Disney is the parent company of ABC, basically said to Sinclair, if you don't start showing Kimmel again, you have the right to do that, but as per our agreement, we also have the right to not allow you to carry Monday Night Football and the World News with David Muir, which are two big moneymakers where local affiliates sell ads within those national broadcasts that make them a lot of money. So my old broadcasting professor, Jack O'Neill from University of Platteville, was right. He came in, wrote a $sign on the board, said it all comes down to that. What's new in your world of communications? And Jack was right. Too often it comes down to the money factor. Other big news today on a Friday. It seems like it's, what do they call the Friday news dumps? This isn't so much a news dump, but things happen that impact the news on a Friday. James Comey under indictment now. We know about lots of history with James Comey. And there's a lot. We could get deep into this, but I thought, what better place to turn to than Fox? And we don't play a lot of Fox on this show. But once in a while. By the way, this comes from the Fox business side. The Fox business side of things. And this is keep me honest, Summers. This is from the Maria
Bartiromo, yeah.
That's it. Maria Bartiromo is on with this guy, Andrew McCarthy, talking about the indictment of James. And Bartiromo is trying their best to make it look like this is legit. But Andrew McCarthy isn't having it. Here it is from Fox Business.
First, give us your reaction to the indictment.
Well, I don't think there's a case. The things that Kash Patel that you just played that he was talking about that you and I have spoken about for years, Maria, the Russiagate stuff, I'm as big a critic of that probably as there is. I wrote a book about it. I think it was a disgrace, and history will remember it that way. This indictment is not about that, and it seems to be premised on something that's not true, which is that McCabe said that Comey authorized him to leak to the Wall Street Journal. If you look closely at what McCabe said was that he directed a leak to the Wall Street Journal and told Comey about it after the fact. So it's true that Comey never authorized it in the sense of okaying it before it happened. So I don't see how they can make that case.
What about the leaking in general? I mean, what about leaking a story that they may have known was a lie to the media? Because if you're the director of the FBI, you need the evidence to say, yeah, I mean, for years, congressmen and lawmakers were trying to understand, Devin Nunes, John Radcliffe, trying to understand what's the origins of this investigation. So what was the origins of Russia collusion with Trump? And so they never really had any evidence of it, but they leaked it to the press?
Yeah, but that's not what this case is about. I totally agree with you if you were talking about the information that was provided to the FISA court that claimed that Trump was in collusion with the Kremlin. But that's not what this case is about. What this case is about is Comey is accused of lying because what Ted Cruz said, and this, and what Cruz said, and I think this was just a garble on his part, was that Comey authorized McCabe to orchestrate the leak. And what the Inspector General found, and this isn't even just what the Inspector General found, this is McCabe's own version of events.
Right.
McCabe said that he directed the leak, and he told Comey about it afterwards. Now, they have a dispute about what exactly McCabe told Comey afterwards and whether Comey was approving or disapproving of it. But the charge is that Comey authorized the leak, and he didn't authorize the leak.
I see. Well, the judge assigned...
Oh, I see.
And it just moves on.
It just moves on. Now you're asking, I know that's a lot. And you're like, what does that really actually mean? Like, I'm no attorney, but guess who is an attorney? Andrew McCarthy, who is doing the talking there. He's an American lawyer. He also happens to be a columnist for the National Review. He served as the Assistant United States Attorney for the Southern District of New York. All right? He's a Republican. And by the way, he's no friend of Democrats. During the presidency of Barack Obama, McCarthy characterized Obama as a radical and a socialist, alleging that Obama was advancing an agenda. And so for McCarthy, that's the reason that I played this, is that when a conservative Republican, an attorney like Andrew McCarthy, who is anti-Obama, when he goes on Fox Business and says, there ain't nothing here.
Especially after criticizing the same guy a lot previously, publicly, and writing a whole book about it.
Right. And to the point that McCarthy is making there, as an attorney, a prominent attorney, as a former United States assistant United States attorney for the Southern District of New York, is saying, look, you can say all this stuff, but James Comey, there's no evidence to show that James Comey directed a leak of any kind, that people told him about it. So I think that a lot of people that are a lot smarter than me on the law. We got Maggie Dawn that comes after us, who actually is an attorney. We've got Jim Santel. You can hear his program on Saturdays. Amicus, a law review. I think a lot of people, Matt Flynn, attorney, people who know the law are saying, look, the judge may just throw all this crap out, this indictment. And Matt Flynn has told us, and others, the old phrase is, you can indict a ham sandwich. The bar to indict someone is not real high. Whether it sticks, that's another matter. But I wanted to play that from Fox Business, from a conservative former assistant United States attorney from the Southern District on Fox News saying, look, ain't nothing here on James Comey.
I think it's very telling.
855-752-4842. Go to the phone lines. Mark in Prairie du Sec. Mark, how's it going?
Yeah, it's going okay. And what gets me, and I've said this before, that there is evidence that Donald Trump indeed was involved with Russia. After all, Trump said, Russia, if you're listening, can you get those emails for me? And that Paul Manafort was actually convicted of, for being an unregistered foreign agent. But what he was doing is passing voter information on to a Russian operative. I mean, that the fact that, that if there's not a blaze going on in the background, there certainly is a smoldering fire that was going on between Donald Trump and the Russians. I mean, that the Mueller report indicated that there was contact between Donald Trump and Russia, but he just didn't bring it out, push it far enough. And what Bill Barr, kind of soft-sold the whole thing and said, well, nothing to see here. Well, there was plenty to see here. And if I'm James Comey, I said, let's show the unredacted Mueller report here, and with all the sort of supporting documentation, and show that that indeed Donald Trump may have been playing footsie with the Russians during the 2016 campaign.
Well, if you believe the Steele dossier, he was playing more than footsie. But I mean, but yeah, I get it, Mark. Thank you very much. I appreciate it. 855-752-4842, 855-752-4842. Yeah, I guess I'm not getting... The only part that works me up about this whole thing is, once again, I think it's more evidence that Donald Trump is using American institutions like the Department of Justice and others and weaponizing them politically against his opponents. And I personally feel, simply my feeling, that I wish that Merrick Garland, when he was the U.S. Attorney General under Joe Biden, would have used those powers not to persecute and prosecute Joe Biden's enemies, but to bring justice quicker. And I think that had that happened, there's a good chance we would not have had Trump 2.0. And that's based on, look, this guy's already a convicted felon, Donald Trump. Sat, judged by a jury of his peers, found guilty. And I wish that would have happened. But hey, we got to play the cards that were dealt. When we come back, we talked about the Republican gubernatorial candidate dropping out. We'll tell you a shocking idea from a Democrat who is running for governor of the state of Wisconsin. What does he want to do to high school athletics? We'll tell you on the other side. It's the Allbaugh Show on the Civic Media Radio Network. That's
Connecting
what they call
audiences,
a tease.
Powering brands. This is
So
Civic
you think
Media.
roll out
Learn
the
more at
barrel, or in heaven there is no beer?
civicmedia.us/advertise.
Or something else.
Fall is in the air, and there's no
Either
better
one.
place to enjoy it than at Sugar River Pizza in Sun Prairie. Cozy up inside for some
I'm gonna do in
spirits,
heaven there is no
48
beer,
beers
'cause
on
I feel like
tap,
we use
and
that less often.
THC drinks. Choose from a wide selection of their warm pastas, 12-hour smoked pulled pork, and of course, their pizzas. Voted best of Madison, Sugar River Pizza is known for great food, great drinks, and a warm, welcoming atmosphere. Located on Cabela Drive in Sun Prairie, they also offer catering. Sugar River Pizza, where fall feels like home.
Tired of that Golf Channel day and night? Maybe it's time to get out there. Coldwater Canyon Golf Course at Chula Vista Resort in Wisconsin Dells. A traditional front nine and a link-style back nine. Perfect for a family outing or a stay-and-play package. And Chula has new thrills like the futuristic Rainbow Rapids
Maybe go
Water
grab
Park
some
Edition
sparkling
and dual
water out of the
zipline
fridge to
racing,
shotgun
plus
the
Wisconsin's number
microphones.
one rated steakhouse. All on site. Check it all out at chulavistaresort.com.
There's probably beer in there.
Probably.
It's the Eco Minute,
Almost
powered by
certainly.
Clean Wisconsin, your environmental voice since 1970. I'm Amy Barrio. Michigan's Supreme Court will hear a challenge against the Line 5 pipeline. The same oil pipeline Canadian oil giant Enbridge is pushing to reroute across northern Wisconsin. Opponents argue the Michigan Public Service Commission broke state laws.
We'll see
when it
how much
approved the
time,
company's
I
plan
might
to
do,
drill an
the
oil
Phil Hartman
tunnel
thing,
under the
too.
Straits of Mackinac.
Okay.
A new report from the Alliance for the Great Lakes and Clean Wisconsin shows nitrate pollution is taking a toll in our state. Thousands of families are paying higher costs to access safe drinking water and facing serious health risks because of nitrate pollution from fertilizer and manure. In 2022, farmers likely applied 16 million pounds of excess fertilizer beyond what crops needed. Right now on the Defender podcast, what do data centers mean for our water, land, energy bills? And why is it so hard to find out? An in-depth conversation on the secrets of data centers. Listen at cleanwisconsin.org or wherever you get your podcasts.
School sports are played by humans, coached by humans, and officiated by humans. So the next time you're sitting in the stands at a school athletic event, please remember this and maintain your humanity, especially when it comes to judging and critiquing athletes, coaches, and officials. Please show your fellow humans some respect. They'll appreciate your empathy.
This message presented by the WIAA and the Wisconsin Athletic Directors Association.
You can support animals in need in our community when you shop at Dane County Humane Society's thrift stores. Thrift Store
30
West
seconds.
on Watts
Thank
Road
you.
and Thrift Store East on High Crossing Boulevard.
In heaven there is no beer. That's why we drink it here. And when we're gone from here, all our friends will be drinking all our beer.
Welcome back to the Todd Allbaugh Show on the Civic Media Radio Network. 8 minutes before the hour of 3 o'clock. Hour number 2, your chance to win in the Text to Win contest, green and gold. In our Text to Win contest. Stay tuned for that. Great cash prizes and otherwise. Also, Brady Ewing in hour number 2 talking about a little controversy. Head coach, former head coach and athletic director Barry Alvarez calling out fans. How does all this affect a player, both in college and then on the positive side, Milwaukee Brewers? Their final homestand starting tonight at AmFam Field. Our own Patrick Jerome, better known to you as Pat Kreitlow, is going to be there this weekend. And
That he will.
And Mike Clemens, a great sports reporter, be down there as well. So how does having the it factor, as Pat Murphy says, how does that affect a team? We'll discuss that with Brady Ewing coming up in hour 2 in another edition of What's Worse. But right now, as the song was alluding, and I love having a Miller High Life, the champagne of beers, at a Brewer game.
Oh, me too.
However, maybe not at a high school event, but have no fear. We talked about Bill Berrien, Republican gubernatorial candidate, pulling out of the governor's race earlier today, moments ago, hour ago. But now here on the Democratic side, Ryan Sternad. He was interviewed by WMTV, the NBC affiliate here in Madison. He has an idea how to help out public schools. Here is Ryan Sternad, Democratic candidate for Wisconsin governor on Channel 15.
Being interviewed by Vanessa Keldson.
You say quality education at all levels. What does that mean to you?
Money needs to go into school systems. We could think out of the box here. How about selling alcohol at high school sporting events? I think, one, it would be rude to the kids, unfortunately, who aren't old enough to drink, to see adults drinking, but that purchasing of this at high school football facilities is actually going into the schools. And we also have to be careful on some liabilities. What happens if someone is driving back from a high school football game and gets into an accident? I know it's a bold decision to make, but hey, that's revenue.
Hey, that's it. Let's not have our state legislators be more responsible and fully fund or largely fund our public schools. No. Let's sell alcohol because, high school fans aren't salty enough at referees and officials who aren't making much money, really. Let's gin things up at our high school stadiums even more and get them whack out drunk.
My absolute favorite part is that his number one concern he brings up is not the safety or the rowdiness of the crowd. It is, well, I know the high schoolers might feel a little left out, but hey.
He called it, correct me if I'm wrong, it would be unfair.
Yeah.
Unfair to the high schoolers that couldn't drink legally yet. And, of course, there's that little problem. If somebody gets in a drunk driving accident on the way home, that could cause some problems.
I'm going to go ahead and say that this is not a good idea.
I think that God bless him for putting his name out there.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
Look, anybody who puts their name on a ballot, hey, you're out there, you're trying to do something. You're not a keyboard warrior behind some anonymous account. But maybe this would be a good day for a twofer. Maybe Ryan Sternad on the Democratic side should follow Bill Berrien on the Republican side and withdraw. Call it a day. And look, I hear he's a very popular beer vendor at AmFam Field, Ryan Sternad.
I wonder who would supply to the high schools.
Right?
No, I'm sure there's nothing there.
Right? Miller Lite. Bringing you tonight's high school football game. It's PJ on YouTube says, wow, that was the dumbest idea I've heard yet. Which one is going to talk about legalization of cannabis?
Oh, I'm sure that discussion will
That's
happen.
a whole other discussion, right? But yeah, selling alcohol at high school events, not exactly an idea that comes from the brightest bulb on the string. But hey, it'll bring in revenue. All right, we got time for Phil Hartman. All right, Phil Hartman, the late great Phil Hartman, would have been 77 today. Of course, he met his untimely death in a terrible murder situation years ago. But he was best known for impersonating Phil Donahue. Here is the late great Phil Hartman on Saturday Night Live in his Donahue best.
You've had a string of degrading relationships.
Yes, I have.
Now, your last boyfriend got drunk, totaled your car with you in it, which left you in intensive care for over a year. And during your painful convalescence, he never visited you. He withdrew your life savings, spent the money on other women, held orgies in your apartment, got you evicted, and yet I understand you still live with this man.
Well, you would really have to meet him. David is he's like a bad little boy. He's like, when he looks at me with these big puppy dog eyes, and I can't stay mad at him.
Now, he sold you to an Iraqi businessman. Didn't he?
Yes, he did. But his landscaping business was faltering, and he needed the money, and David never intended for it to be permanent. See?
With us today is Dr. Norma Heffering, author of the book, Women Good, Men Bad. Doctor, what the heck's going on? Enlighten us.
Well, Phil, these women lack a basic sense of self-worth, and this makes them feel they deserve, everything they get, they deserve.
Now, what prompted you to write Women Good, Men Bad? Was it something in your personal life?
I'd really rather not discuss it.
The late, great Phil Hartman at his absolute best, a spot-on impersonation of, at one time, the #1 daytime talker, Donahue. Absolutely great. We miss Phil Hartman immensely. Come on back. We don't want to miss you. Hour number 2, your chance to win tickets to the Green and Gold.
This is 92.7 WMDX Columbus, Madison's home for real news and great conversation. A civic
Parker
media
comments,
station.
beer vendor solves problem with, you guessed it,
ABC News'
beer.
Michelle Franzen, an ICE agent in New York, has been relieved of current duties after a video captured a violent confrontation. That video showing an ICE officer pushing a woman to the floor who was crying in the hallway at the federal building, pleading with officers after her husband was detained following a scheduled hearing. ABC's Armando Garcia has more.
So far, DHS has been very supportive of how ICE agents have conducted immigration arrests, but clearly they saw something in this video that was alarming, and they're now conducting an investigation saying, quote, the officer's conduct in this video is unacceptable.
I might allow the AI to
New York
keep
Congressman
it, to
Daniel
keep the
Goldman tells
headline.
ABC News
You want me to
he
use
sent a letter
that?
to
The headline
Attorney General
is
Pam Bondi
pullouts
demanding a
and
criminal
playoffs.
investigation. President Trump says the indictment of a former FBI director, James
What is
Comey,
the-
is more
oh,
about
what
justice
does
than
playoffs
revenge.
have to do? We
Comey
have
is
talked
facing charges
playoffs.
of lying to Congress and obstruction
I
of justice.
I don't know where
after
that
President
came
Trump
from.
pushed
The
for
word
DOJ
playoffs
to
was probably
investigate
mentioned when you were talking about the
Probably.
Brewers.
I
He
don't
says
know.
he's innocent.
So
On Wall
almost.
Street,
Almost.
Spencer
Close,
Rupp.
AI.
This is ABC
Missed
News.
it by that much.
You're listening to
Matt Middleton's suggesting you could sell cocaine at the games.
Madison's home for the Maggie Dawn Show.
Well,
Monday
why don't we
through
use
Friday
Coke as
from
the
4 to
lines of the
6 p.m.
field? Then
There we go.
just do a line. I'll do a 15-yard line. I'll do a 20-yard line.
News, I'm Savannah.
Everyone will die.
Republican lawmakers are introducing bills they say would increase the housing supply in Wisconsin. The cost to buy a home here rose.
That was
by more
almost
than
a Joni Ernst quote.
50% just in
Yes.
5 years between 2017 and 2022. That's according to the Wisconsin Policy Forum. In polling, people often rank affordable housing as one of their top concerns.
We gotta
Tom
do
Larson,
the
President
thing.
and CEO of the Wisconsin Realtors
And we got
Association.
what's worth.
The average age of the first-time homebuyer is now 38 years old. 38 years old. And this is due to the fact that housing prices continue to rise faster than wages. The average price of a home now in Wisconsin is approximately $340,000. That far exceeds a price that most working families can afford. Wisconsin's affordability crisis is worse than most other states. Over the last 15 years, Wisconsin has built fewer housing units per capita than the national average.
One of the bills would create a program Republican lawmakers say would make it easier for people to buy their first home. Representative Dan Knodel of Germantown.
It creates a new program of 0% interest second mortgage loans, up to $60,000 or 25% of a home's purchase price, to help first-time buyers. They can use these for down payments and closing costs.
These bills would also include creating statewide guidance for accessory dwelling units. That's where people add homes, sometimes tiny homes, in their backyards. Some municipalities allow this already, but this bill would codify some rules statewide. Republicans say some of these plans were included in Governor Tony Evers' original budget, but they removed them, so they expect many of these measures to get bipartisan support. I'm Savannah Tomei-Olson, 92.7 WMDX News.
The boys are back in town. Hi, I'm Mike Clemens with sports. Baseball tonight. The Brewers host the Cincinnati Reds. In the final weekend of the regular season, Quinn Priester on the mound for Milwaukee.
No
They've
fluff,
won 19
just
games
facts.
in a row whenever he's pitched.
Is that us?
Third baseman Caleb Durbin.
There's something
I think
about
that's
just
the next one.
The way he looks, the way he
I know,
composes
I'm just
himself,
saying.
body
I know,
language.
yeah.
Was that a shot across
Easy
our
to feed off of.
I like
as
some
far as
fluff.
playing defense behind him, but I think that's why he's so successful
You know,
out
it's-
there right now.
it's
is
better than it
he's-
was.
He's just competing like a bulldog, and it's easy to tell.
NFL. The Packers play the Cowboys on Sunday Night Football.
Which isn't
Dallas is
saying
doing
a lot
off their top
because
wide
the way it
receiver
was
Ceedee
was
Lamb. Out the next
unacceptable.
3 to 4 weeks with a high ankle sprain. Xavier McKinney.
You know, he's a playmaker on the offense, and he's one of the, the best players that they have on their team. So obviously, him not being out there is going to have an effect. But I think they're still going to run a lot of, what they usually run. And it's going to be a next man up type of mentality.
That's the
I
Packers.
think
safety,
I
Xavier
think it
McKinney.
says some things
Sports on Mike
that
Clemens.
I'm not going to say right now.
Join the family. Civic Media has a number of great jobs across the state open now at civicmedia.us/careers.
I'm meteorologist Brandon Bormans. Sunny skies today with highs in the upper 70s to near 80.
For tonight, patchy fog possible late. Otherwise, partly cloudy with lows in the mid-50s. Feeling more like July as opposed to September on Saturday. Sunny skies with highs in the low to mid-80s. It's 80 degrees at our studios.
This is Robert Pilot, host of Native Roots Radio. On our show, we talk about Native issues like treaties, protecting Mother Earth, and holding our elected officials accountable. You'll also hear from Turtle Island voices like Arvina Martin, State Representative Heather Keeler, Ruth Anna Buffalo, Dr. Anthony Stately, State Senator Mary Kunish.
Listen, have you still got the clip of Brady's boys saying goodbye, Todd?
Roots Radio, weeknights at 8 on your local Civic Radio.
Can we pull that up?
Station.
Yeah, I can find that.
All right, we'll use that in the last block.
I don't ever eat fish fries, so when I do it, I overdo it. I ordered a large perch. I ate everything on my plate, and I felt like I wanted to die. And now I don't want to eat fish again, maybe ever.
I know it's a staple to get breaded fish, but if you don't get the bread on it, you can kind of get away with eating more.
I'm not trying to gain weight for football here. I'm like, I just want to have a nice meal.
Nightlight with Pete Schwaba. Weeknights from 6 till 8 on your
All right,
local
about
Civic Media radio
20
station
seconds.
and on the Civic Media app. John Peterson and Gordy Young.
Monday morning, we'll talk to UW professor of pediatrics.
From the Civic Media World Headquarters in Madison, Wisconsin, it's the Todd Allbaugh Show. And now, pursuing truth wherever it may lead, here's your host, Todd Allbaugh.
On the Civic Media Radio Network and streaming worldwide on the Civic Media app. Good afternoon, everybody. Todd Allbaugh, along with Mr. Aaron Dommers, our producer and engineer on the board. It is 6 minutes past the hour of 3 o'clock. Welcome into hour number 2 of the big broadcast here on a TGIF Friday, the 26th of September, 2025. It is a great day to be a Wisconsinite. Welcome in, everybody, from the world headquarters of Civic Media downtown Madison at the intersection of State and Fairchild. One more look, Zommers, just because I want those fine folks who are watching on YouTube, Facebook, whatever else they stream it on. The look at that, the lovely shot on the Sam Davidson street cam. It's a beautiful, lovely afternoon in downtown Madison. Get outside. I'm not sure what I'm gonna do, but after the show, Zommers, I'm out of here. I'm gonna get outside.
Todd will create a window that opens in the studio.
Right. Maybe that's dangerous.
Yeah, no, don't do that.
Because we're on the second floor.
We are on the second floor.
But wherever you're at, get outside and enjoy. I went down to probably my favorite place in Madison, Memorial Union Terrace, last night. And, I have spotted cow often, but last night I had a hankering because I saw it on the tap, a little Leinenkugel's Oktoberfest.
Ooh.
So I had some Oktoberfest and a cheeseburger. And I sat, and also, I know I probably talked about this on the show before. One of my favorite things to do, and I hope it doesn't sound too creepy because I'm not looking at anyone physically, but I like to go down to the terrace and get a beverage and whatnot and plant myself at a table alone, but close to other people, particularly college students, because they talk amongst themselves and they have no concept that anybody could possibly be hearing what they are saying 3 feet from them, maybe even 2 feet from them. And they have these, I learn things about a younger generation, and B, I find it enormously entertaining.
I could see how somebody could think it's creepy, but knowing you, it's definitely not.
Because they're to my back. I'm not ogling anybody.
It's just people watching, but it's listening.
But it's people listening. That's exactly what it is.
It's not eavesdropping to find secret information. It's just, just like if you're sitting in a cafe and you overhear something, you're like, oh, that's interesting.
Right, exactly. And so I'm not sure, it must be Rush or something for the fraternities and sorority, because it seemed like there were a larger amount of usual than and they were divided up in gender. So you had dudes sitting at a couple of tables and then girls sitting at a couple of tables, and the girls were right behind me, and they were carrying on about some things I probably can't repeat on the air, but just, yeah, so I was trying to get my clothes, and what kind of bag do you have? Because I have this kind of bag. And they're talking about what sort of bags they use to transport their clothes. And then the guys were talking about, I wasn't going to tell her that, apparently about some girl he was dating.
Yeah.
And my favorite one was from last summer. I think it was last summer, where there were two girls right behind me, and I'm like 2 feet from me. And they're talking in a rather loud voice. And there's a place downtown called the James, which is a big apartment that's mostly college students. And I've never been to it, but apparently it must be a hot tub on the top of the James.
Oh, no.
And one girl says, the other one, just so you know, the hot tub of the James is not good. Like, I was there, and like so-and-so and I were hanging out, and this other guy came, and then it just got really creepy really fast. And I love the conversation because I was never cool in college. I never had any experiences that you would want to eavesdrop on, but it entertains me. Now, is that too creepy?
I don't think so. I had a similar, like a smaller version of that today. We were walking back from getting some coffee at Wonder State and walked past a few random, presumably college students, and just hearing some very interesting conversations that I certainly cannot repeat on air.
So whatever you're doing, people watching, people listening, our own Terry Barr, the great Terry Barr, co-host of Max Inc. Radio at 6 o'clock on Saturday nights. If you don't live in Madison and can hear it over the air on WMDX, check it out on the Civic Media app via WMDX. Terry Barr says on YouTube, listening can give you great story ideas too. She is 1,000% right, as she usually is.
Yeah, she's also going to be on Nightlight with Pete Schwaba tonight for another Bar Band Friday.
Love it. Tune in tonight, Pete Schwaba's show from 6 until 8, Nightlight, the great Terry Barr with Bar Band Friday night. Great segment indeed. Speaking of great segments, it's 11 minutes now past the hour of 3 o'clock. Time once again to play Civic Media's Green and Gold Text to Win multi-state contest. Daily prize of $200 cash and gold jewelry. And everyone who enters gets put into the kitty to win the one grand prize, 2 club-level indoor seats to Green Bay versus Minnesota. It's a Green Bay home game on November 23rd of this year, of course, at 12 noon. The winner will get a gas card as well to get you to the game and home. It is a $1,550 value. Open up your Civic Media app. If you don't have it, you can download it for free at your Apple and Android device. Open up the app. First 10 stations are the ones that we're on. Choose one closest to you or the top one, WAUK or MDX, whichever you prefer. Open up one of the stations. In the lower right-hand corner, it will say text. Click on that. And now I'm going to give you the keyword today to text in to enter the Green and Gold Text to Win contest. The word this hour is coach. Coach. C-O-A-C-H. The word is coach. In order to win, you need a good coach. C-O-A-C-H. The word is coach. Please text into the Civic Media app. You have until 4 o'clock to get it in. Good luck, everybody. There you go. Until 4 o'clock. So make sure you text carefully, as they say. All right, at the bottom of the hour, or just thereafter, our friend, ongoing contributor Brady Ewing will be with us talking sports and life and all those types of things. And we'll talk a little bit of Brewers. Let's get this in quickly, Zombers, because Pat Murphy, they had the big pancake breakfast with Murph today. And Donald Driver, former Packer, was there as well, and other celebrities. And part of the proceeds or whatever went to charity, but it was kind of a fan appreciation thing. They were giving away free pocket pancakes. Murph was flipping them, literally flipping flapjacks. And then he took a moment to address the crowd assembled in the parking lot outside AmFam Field this morning. And it's a little, the audio isn't great just because it was outside, but this is courtesy of the Brewers. Here's Murph's message to the fans at AmFam this morning.
You know, you got to keep it light. You got to continue to do the things that you did all year. Now, Major League Baseball says you can't win like that. It says for years that, you know, teams with small budgets, teams that don't hit a lot of home runs can't win at all. We're here to prove that you can.
There you go. Here to prove that you can, Murph says. We'll talk with Brady at the bottom of the hour about this great magical run of the Brew Crew. They get underway once again, the final 3 games of the regular season in Milwaukee at AmFam Field. The Reds in town fighting for their playoff lives. So they'll have a lot to play for against the Crew. Crew has to win one more game, and/or the Philadelphia Phillies have to lose one for the Brewers to have home field advantage and the number 1 seed in Major League Baseball. You can hear the pregame show at 6:35 with the first pitch just after 7 o'clock. You can hear it on the old home station, WRCE in Richland Center, WISS in Oshkosh B'gosh, WCQM in Park Falls, and WBZH in Hayward, Wisconsin. Cannot wait to listen and watch these final 3 games, and then the postseason ramps up. Right now, 15 past 3 o'clock. Time once again to play What's Worse. Let's go.
This or that, this or that. Then, of course, the choice is yours. You can get with this or you can get with that.
Time once again for What's Worse. Nothing to away, no prize money involved in this portion. Still doing the green and gold thing. It gets confusing, I know. But this segment is simply to have your voice heard on all 10 news, weather, and sports, news, talk, and sports. Well, weather too. Sports stations across the Civic Media Radio Network. Timely indeed, as Mike Lucas is fond of saying, because we had this story earlier of Ryan Starnod, or what is it? Sternod?
I think Sternod, yeah.
He's not going to be in the thing long enough to matter, but the Democrat candidate for governor who wants now his proposal to sell alcohol and beer at high school games. Because what could possibly go wrong with that? Well, here now, maybe this could help them out. The category today of what's worse, decaf coffee or non-alcoholic beer? What's worse, decaf coffee or NA beer? 855-752-4842, 855-752-4842. You can also text us on the old Civic Media app as well. But the category, decaf coffee or NA beer. What's worse? 855-752-4842. You can also chime us in on YouTube, on Facebook, and Twitter, and all that kind of good stuff as well. I love the photograph today, Zommers, for those watching on the stream. They have a carafe of coffee, and it's just kind of a green piece of tape and black marker that says decaf stuck to it.
That's the way a lot of people do it.
It's just an afterthought, right? And now look, this is a humorous side of this, right? But there's serious sides to both of these things we'll get into here. Well, I guess number one, I used to own a couple of coffee shops, so I know a couple of things about coffee. And this some people find this disturbing, but it's true. Decaf coffee is one of the worst things for the environment. Because
I did not know that.
You didn't know that? Because people think, and I get it. If you don't know, you don't know. There's no such thing as a decaf coffee tree. Like you can't.
That I did know.
You can't just grow coffee and say, "Oh, this is decaffeinated coffee." All coffee that grows on trees is caffeinated. So the way that you decaffeinate coffee is you take the coffee cherries and you take the hulls or the husks off of the fruit, the actual fruit part. And then the seed of the coffee cherry is what we know as the coffee bean. It's green when it first comes out of the cherry and you dry it. So the way that you decaffeinate coffee is you take that green coffee, the bean, before it's roasted and becomes brown. You take the green coffee and you have to run copious, i.e. huge amounts of water over it to take the caffeine out.
So it's kind of like almond milk where it just uses tons of water.
And you can't do anything productive with that water. It's wastewater. And so it's terrible for the environment to produce decaffeinated coffee. Also a secret, there is some caffeine even in decaf coffee.
It's just a very small amount.
Right. So that's number one. I told that to a customer at my shop one time, and she goes, "You've ruined my coffee experience for me." I'm serious. I said, well, I'm sorry. The truth hurts. Now, I don't think there's any environmental negatives about non-alcoholic beer. And I get it. Before people start adding me, I get it. People with certain heart conditions, it's very important they don't have caffeine. I get that. And certainly anybody with an addiction problem or alcohol, you don't want people having, alcohol. So there's places for both. But on the fun side, far as taste or whatever, what's worse, decaf coffee or non-alcoholic beer? 855-752-4842. 855-752-4842. Zombers and I will give you ours on the other side. What's yours? Give us a ring-a-ling. There will be no decaf coffee in my cup, I'll tell you that. Back after this on the Civic Media Radio Network.
WMDX, talk radio that actually talks to you.
Find what you love, love what you find. A Total Wine and More. There's so much waiting for you. Spirits and beer, thousands of wines. Guides in the know and prices so low. It just might blow your mind. You're gonna find what you love and love what you find.
With curbside pickup available, you'll always find what you love, only at Total Wine and More.
Drink responsibly, B21.
Are unauthorized immigrants eligible for federal Medicaid coverage? No. Unauthorized immigrants are not eligible for traditional federally funded Medicaid health insurance and never
Fact
have
check.
been.
True.
A 1996 law also requires most authorized immigrants to wait 5 years for eligibility. 14 states, not including Wisconsin, use state funds to cover unauthorized immigrants. President Trump has proposed cutting federal Medicaid funds to those states, which could drop 1.4 million people from health care coverage. In Wisconsin, Medicaid covers 1.28 million people at a cost of $12.1 billion. I'm Trisha Young for Wisconsin Watch. Fact Briefs are bite-sized fact checks of trending claims produced by Wisconsin Watch and GigaFact. Learn more at wisconsinwatch.org.
This is Jim Santel, the host of Amicus, a law review on the broadcast stations of Civic Media. Every step you take at the Dane County Walk to End Alzheimer's brings hope to families affected by dementia. Join WMDX on October 5th at Warner Park as we walk to raise funds for care, support, and research. Free registration at alz.org/walk.
About 25 seconds.
Gracias.
Let's remind
Got
each
some good
other
texts.
life matters.
Yes, that's awesome.
But I'm pretty good at drinking beer. So hand me one more, that's what I'm here for. I'm built for having a ball. I love the nightlife, I love my Bud Light. I like 'em cold and tall. I ain't much.
Welcome back to the
more
Todd Allbaugh
than
Show on
grass.
the Civic Media Radio Network. 22 now, past the hour of 3 o'clock. Who sings that song?
Billy Currington.
Oh, Billy Currington. Yeah. Very good. What's worse category, decaf coffee or non-alcoholic beer? Decaf coffee or NA beer? What's worse? 855-752-4842, 855-752-4842, or you could text us on the old Civic Media's app, the Civic Media app. Matt, great UPS driver in Richland Center, out there doing God's work, delivering all the times we order crap online. I guess it gives him and all the other drivers a job, but just be respectful and thankful of our great drivers, because they're hauling all the crap that we ordered into our to our houses. And
Without trucks, America stops.
Yes, that's 100% true. Great bumper sticker. Matt Richland Center says when Letterman, i.e. David Letterman, had heart surgery, he had to switch to decaf. Whenever he took a drink, a little jingle would play that said, "Decaffeinated coffee. It's useless, warm, brown water." I remember that. I can't sing the tune, but yes, I'd forgotten it, so I appreciate you texting that in. Robert, up there in La Crosse, listening to us on wonderful WLCX. Get it right yet. Our great station, La Crosse, WLCX. Stop by. Say hi at the station sometime. Robert in La Crosse says, I prefer plain black tea. Well, it's not a category, but I know a lot of people. I found that one Rishi tea recently that I liked. Otherwise, I'm not big on tea. But thank you, Robert. Appreciate your listenership up there. Beautiful La Crosse by Granddad's Bluff. Have you been to Granddad's Bluff before?
I have not.
Oh, you should. Fantastic look out there, La Crosse. On WMDX, Tyler up in Columbia County says decaf coffee is worse. I stayed at a hotel recently, one that had the K-Cup brewers in the room. There was only decaf K-Cups. Ugh. I had to go to the front desk to ask to get some just to find out. And the delivery is after checkout. The delivery was after checkout the next morning. Where were you staying, Tyler? Ugh. From that hotel, nay, stay away. What's worse, decaf coffee or NA beer? Matt in Middleton saying decaf coffee is worse than non-alcoholic beverages, or is worse, he should say, as non-alcoholic beverages are very good these days and rather enjoy them. That's a great point because they have come a long, long ways. There are some non-alcoholic beers out there. If you just taste it, I can't necessarily tell the difference right away. And as we said earlier, it certainly has a place. Usefulness. 855-752-4842. Let's go to Whistler out in beautiful Richland County. Listening on WRCE. Whistler, decaf coffee or NA beer? What's worse?
NA beer. NA beer's got to be worse.
Why?
I can always have peanut butter and jelly on toast and dunk it in the decaf. Still tastes like coffee.
All right. But you don't.
And what's the sense of non-alcoholic beer?
Well, like I say,
beer.
Right. I mean, I like the taste of a good beer. I also like, a little bit of a buzz if I'm not going to drive. But I understand there are people that, obviously have alcohol or addiction problems that don't want the alcohol. So I think that's the place for it. And that's fine. But in terms of taste, would you say that NA beer has come a long ways or not so much?
Yeah, but I still don't appreciate it.
Well, yeah, it's fine. It's America. All right, thanks, Whistler. Have a great weekend out there, beautiful Richland County. Go up to our friends in Oakwood Fruit Farm, one of our great sponsors at Civic Media. They have doings going on, great apples. It's the best caramel apples in the world, bar none. I'm an aficionado. Oakwood Fruit Farm, Richland County.
I haven't really had many caramel apples because I had braces by the time I was old enough, and you just can't do it.
I am going to bring you a caramel apple from Oakwood Fruit Farm, and your life is going to change.
Well, all right. I look forward to it.
Joseph on YouTube says, I agree with PJ. Well, first, I guess we should say PJ's. PJ says decaf coffee is worse. Terrible flavor. NA beer actually tastes like beer. And then Joseph says, I agree with PJ. I have discovered some NA beer that's very tasty. Decaf coffee serves no useful purpose. Mr. Zommers, decaf coffee or NA beer? What's worse?
First, I think Robert and McFarland had a funny text.
Go ahead.
He said, sorry, can't help you out with this one. I've had neither. Go big or go home.
All right. Gordy Kopke down there, another great sponsor of Civic Media, Kopke's Greenhouse, town of Dunn here in beautiful Dane County outside Oregon. Gordy says, decaffeinated coffee is like kissing my sister. At social gatherings, I can knock down a few NA beers and still drive home legally.
I think I am going to have to say that decaf coffee is worse, though, because at least for me, I feel like NA beer has more of a purpose. I mean, obviously, if you have heart conditions and you just really love the taste of coffee and can't have it because of caffeine, sure. But I don't know. I just feel like if I don't want caffeine, then I won't have coffee. But if you're at an event and everyone's having a beer and you don't want alcohol or can't have alcohol, then you can have that. And I don't know. That's my opinion.
This is very, very easy for me. It's not even close. Decaf coffee is a million times worse because, as other people pointed out, there are NA beers that taste pretty good. Decaf coffee, A, it's terrible for the environment, and B, it tastes like crap. in my opinion.
If you're running so much water out of it, it's not
Right.
just getting rid of the caffeine.
And if if you can't handle the caffeine, well, then have tea, have whatever.
Right, just don't drink coffee.
Or take a little bit of coffee and put a bunch of hot water into it, like Mom does. All right, stay tuned. A guy who will get you caffeinated on the other side. Brady Ewing joins us after this on the Civic Media Radio Network.
7 WMDX. Warning, may cause smarter dinner conversations.
Yes, Curtin Madison, you have to drive. If you're not in Richland County, you got to drive an hour out there to get a good caramel apple.
Todd doesn't make the rules.
I don't make the rules.
Now in the U.S., we have a large milk supply, but how is that going to affect the bottom line of the farmers? I'm Ben Jarbo with the Midwest Farm Report, and Matt Crandall, a dairy market advisor with Everag, is here to give some insight on what he expects to see with milk checks coming soon.
We often do find it takes longer to build the herd when we need the milk, and generally it does take longer to trim the herd when we don't need as much milk as what we currently are producing. So we'll see how that kind of plays. Milk checks have been okay to this point. There hasn't been a ton of herd on the milk check just yet. We have watched class 4 and class 3 values kind of deteriorate over the last 30 days.
Looks like Brady is working on getting connected.
Mr. Ewing is on his way.
Matt Trannell, a dairy market analyst with Everag.
Oh, just popped back up.
For the Midwest Farm Report, I'm Ben Jarbo, and we'll take a look at those closing markets right after this.
At the Department of Agriculture, Trade, and Consumer Protection, they know your business has always been something special. Now you can let customers know it too, in an instant, with the red and yellow Something Special from Wisconsin sticker. Joining the program gives you access to supplier and distribution information, marketing support, and a community of like-minded Wisconsin businesses. Best of all, you'll let people know that your work is done with care, quality, and love. You've always been something special.
Can you hear me, Todd?
Brady Ewing.
What's happening?
We can hear you now.
Can you see me?
We can't see you, but we can hear you.
Well, what the heck?
You're a man of mystery.
And empower rural economies. It takes courage, conviction, commitment. It takes the nation's leading farmer-owned cooperative. It takes a co-op.
It takes a co-op.
CHS.
Welcome back. I'm Ben Jarbo with the Midwest Farm Report. Now let's see how the markets look to close out the week. A bit of a mix today with cash and new crop corn down 3 and 3.
With my cam.
Your camera is non-operational.
So I get to see you. Maybe you don't get to see me today.
He's an international man of mystery, ladies and gentlemen.
Austin Powers.
What's new in the RC?
Not much. A little behind here because we've been getting some work done out on our land with the invasives. And the guy stopped by and was like, "Oh, looks like I'm going to have to come back on Monday." And I was like, "I got to go, dude." So we got
Now, what sort of invasive species have creeped onto the Ewing property?
We got Japanese barberry, autumn olive, and something honeysuckle.
Really?
Yeah, so part of
honeysuckle was invasive.
I think that was what it was. Definitely the first two. But yeah, as part of our next timber harvest we're getting done this fall, we have to get some of the invasives taken care of so that when the more sunlight gets into the floor, those invasives don't take off that much more.
Look at you, Brady Ewing, the forester extraordinaire.
Not so sure about that. But
Well, I think so.
it's fun. It's fun to learn about.
Absolutely. Now, see, Dale has been doing managed forestry projects on his place for years.
Nice.
Yeah, he knows what's up.
They're fun. And there's some cool government programs too to help subsidize that work and the preparation for it and all that, which is nice.
That's super cool. All right, got to give out the magic word for the green and gold text to win contest, and then And then we'll get into a little bit of Coach Alvarez and Badger football, and then we'll bring in Kira Saban to cheer us up and tell us why we're mentally unhealthy.
All right, we got about 20 seconds.
All right, here we go.
I'm still going to try to get my video going here.
That's fine.
To this day, when I hear that song, I see you standing there on that lawn. Discount shades, store-bought tan, flip-flops and cut-off jeans. Somewhere between that setting sun, I'm on fire.
Radio Network 35 now past the hour of 3 o'clock on a Friday, TGIF. It is the 26th of September. Glad to have you along. Zowers on the board, play the tunes. That song only means one person is on the other side. We'll get to him in just a moment. But first of all, I have to give out the magic word this hour for the green and gold text to win contest. You have until 4 o'clock to text via the Civic Media app. The word this hour is coach. Coach. In order to win a game, you got to have a good coach. C-O-A-C-H. Text the word coach right now to the Civic Media app. Up for grabs, $200 cash and gold jewelry. And everybody's entered in for the grand prize tickets to the green and gold. Not only is he a great player, but also is a great coach. And let me make this clear, a two-time Big Ten champion with the Wisconsin Badger football team, NFL veteran with Atlanta and Jacksonville. He joins us every other Friday from his home in beautiful Richland County, Wisconsin, our mutual hometown, the one, the only, Brady Ewing. Brady, how are you?
Todd, I'm great. How are you doing?
Oh, I'm great. And for those watching on the stream who, they got to look at my ugly mug, and they're like, well, at least every other Friday there's a handsome guy on. We have technical difficulties, so we're hearing the voice of Brady Ewing.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's
yep.
fantastic. Well,
sorry about that. I don't know what's going on. I've got my new mic rolling, which I know we had some issues with last time I was on.
Right.
And I think that might be messing with something on my computer webcam.
I just wanted to explain to people why, because they're going to say your public wants you, Brady. Your fan base wants you. So I got to tell people what's going on. But your voice, you're here live, and that's fantastic. I made a little joke because Brady and I and his sons and his dad and his brother-in-law, we took a guys trip down to AmFam Field a couple 3 weeks ago. Your wife was feeling a little ill, and your mom said, "I'm not hanging out with all those guys." And so it was a boys' trip down to AmFam, and it came out during the trip that you've been coming on this show since basically day one, and for 3 years, and I introduced you as a 3-time Big Ten champion. And Brady, being the gracious, kind guy he is, said, well, I'm not going to make Allbaugh look like an idiot, which I do well enough myself. It turns out you're a 2-time Big Ten champion, Brady.
Yeah, and no, I didn't let it slide, Todd. I guess I don't pay attention to the details as good as I should. I didn't really catch it or think much of it until, it was brought up in a different light, and I actually started to think about it. I'm like, hold on now. I am just a 2-time. Three times sounded great, man. It rolled off the tongue when you did the intro, though.
Well, I think I got confused because when you go to Camp Randall, you see, the 2010, 11, and 12 champions. And I'm thinking, well, the confusion was that the 2012 Rose Bowl in which you played was from the 2011 season. So
That's
you were
right.
there. You were Big Ten champions in 10 and 11. You played in the 12 Rose Bowl, and then the Badgers won the Big Ten championship in 2012 as well.
Correct. Yeah, I get confused. I played in those games, and I get confused about that because, yes, the Rose Bowl's on January 1st. Everybody knows those January 1st bowl games. But, yeah, it is definitely confusing. But I'm glad we got it sorted out. Yeah. Now there's no excuse. No more 3-time. Even though it's probably embedded in your head due to the introduction that you've done.
It is. Because you could say 3-time Big Ten champion, 3 years in the NFL.
Yeah.
That's as our mutual friend and former social studies teacher Ken Lewis is fond of reminding us, I was too poor to pay attention.
That's right.
You used to say, you're never so poor, you can't pay attention. I was so poor, I couldn't pay attention. Brady, we couldn't help but pay attention to former Wisconsin head football coach Barry Alvarez, former athletic director Barry Alvarez, who was on ESPN Wisconsin this week, talking about now your alma mater on last week. It was a home game. We both picked this as a win. This was one of my 4 wins that I predicted the Badgers would win against the Terps of Maryland. But no, the Badgers got spanked at Camp Randall to the point where the student section started cheering, "Fire Fickle." And it got louder. Barry was on ESPN Wisconsin this week. Here's what he said.
Coach, what do you make of how fans have reacted here
I think
so
it's
far?
embarrassing. I think it's terrible, despicable. They're spoiled rotten. Here's a team that you got young players trying to come on. They're competing. They're going to have a chance to get better, and you flip on them. They're early in the season, and you flip on them, and you're chanting for the coach. What do you think that makes? How do you think that makes the players feel?
Exactly.
And
that's a great point, Coach.
That's disrespectful. It's not loyal. You're not a fan. If I'm a person sitting next to me, boom, I tell, get your ass out of here. We don't need you in here. You don't want to watch this? Go someplace else. Go boo in a bar. That really upsets me.
My favorite line from that is "Go boo at a bar."
Yeah.
Now, in fairness, with a follow-up interview with the Journal Times, Alvarez was asked if he stood by his comments. He replied with a chuckle, quote, "Well, I think more than anything else, I tend to overreact at times." He says, "I meant what I said, but I think the way I said it, I'm sure I overreacted." Brady Ewing, what say you?
Yeah, it was a pretty bold statement. I think, you think about what seat he's looking at this from, or at least I do. And he was the guy that built Wisconsin football into what it is today. And that's really all I've ever known. And, there's other people from different generations you talk to have seen, the Morton era and others where, Wisconsin football was just a totally different team, a different culture, a different program. And Barry, coming in early 90s and building Wisconsin football into what it was. Clearly he told you how he felt. And so, I wouldn't say I disagree with him. I think as a former player, somebody that took pride in helping keep that program where it was at, with the exception of probably my freshman year, we were had a 7-6 year, kind of underperformed from expectations, but I think it is embarrassing for the fans, but I think the program's in a tough spot. They're not performing to everybody's expectations. So is that the way to handle it? No. As a former player, would that really bother me? I don't think so. I don't think that would bother me. I think
that's the question. Not to interrupt you, but my dad coached wrestling and cross country, for 38 years or whatever it was. I understand from a coach's perspective as a son of a coach, and our families, our neighbors, our parents are, and seeing how a family reacts when you're hurt or you live and die virtually by every play. So I get it. So I personally don't think that I would ever boo or yell a coach. I certainly would not a player. I think players are off limits.
Sure.
But I think this is why I want to ask you. I get a lot of these fans, Brady, in the south end zone. I mean, those heated seats, they ain't cheap. I mean, it's thousands of dollars. And if you're even for the regular tickets and even for the student tickets, I think that fans have a right to be angry at the administration and at the coaching for not. I don't care about wins and losses, but what's your feeling? Shouldn't it at least be competitive, especially against Maryland?
Yeah, I think that's, as a former player, as a fan myself, I think that's what you want. I don't think, especially with the schedule we have, I don't think the expectation is you go out and win every game. The over-under was 5.5 this year, and it's a very, very tough schedule. And we're coming from a tough past couple of years. And so I don't think the expectation is that you go and, we'll go 13-0 and go to the college football playoffs. But the expectation is that you put a competitive team out there that's going to do the basic things right. And I know there's some challenges that have happened here the last couple games. And I'm going to be totally frank. I've told you this too. That is one thing with having a young family and coaching right now is I don't get to watch a ton of the games live and don't do a great job getting back and watching the full games. But so I'm not coming from a place of analysis, but just from what I've seen from highlights and heard, you can't have, fumbled snaps and blocked punts. You can't have blocked field goals. You can't have some of these basic things that don't put you in a position to be competitive and to have even a chance to succeed. I think that's the bigger question here.
We're talking with Brady Ewing, two-time Big Ten champion, Wisconsin Badger football team, and a veteran of the National Football League, or as they say, the league. Joining us via StreamYard from Richland County. Brady, from a player's perspective, when you played for Wisconsin, I don't ever recall anybody saying, fire Brett, as in Brett Bielema, because he was winning Big Ten championships. But from a player's perspective, when you hear that, especially from the student sections, does that have any sort of an effect on your psyche as a player, or are you just able to block that out?
I mean, you hear it, definitely. I think, when I was playing, it was always about ignoring the noise, whether it be negative noise and the naysayers and the haters per se, as the kids are saying nowadays, or, maybe the people giving you praise, whether that be in the media or on the TV, wherever it may be in the polls. And so our mantra and our thought process was always ignore the noise. And I think this would fall under that category. Now you hear it. Honestly, as a player, if you came there for a certain head coach and believed in them and were recruited by them, honestly, it probably would motivate me as I think back in that situation where, hey, we hold ourselves to higher expectations than any fan ever could. I think that as a player, as a coaching staff is generally true. But at the end of the day, I speak out of the other side of my mouth and say results still matter. You still have to put a competitive team on the field that can compete. But as a player, I don't think it would really bother me, other than maybe motivating me to try to do everything I could in my power to help that coach that I believed in, that I said yes to, go out and have as much success too in his career.
I think that's a great point, the motivation from a player. Don't have time to get into all of this, but I mean, you've seen these articles. I mean, USA Today is already putting out the top 5 people that could replace Luke Fickell. But his buyout is north of $22 million. And Urban Meyer, former the Ohio State University coach, coming out now, Fox Sports analyst, saying that he doesn't think that no matter what happens, that Wisconsin's going to go in another direction because Wisconsin doesn't have the money to buy Fickell out. I'm not asking to make a prediction whether or not Coach Fickell should stay or not, but how do you dig out of this, Brady?
Man, deep question. Hopefully Fickell, the year goes a different direction than it appears that it might right now. I think first and foremost, I hope he has success. I hope the program has success. If he doesn't, it's truly got to be an overhaul of the coaching staff and the culture that's been built there, and kind of set a new trajectory going forward. And there's been examples of it throughout college sports where coaches have been able to come in and have success generally quickly with the transfer portal, with NIL and everything that entails right now. So it's it would have to be just a totally different direction, and someone that's going to be able to have success in what Wisconsin is. And I think honoring and serving the past, I think is important. Maybe I'm biased because I was a part of that, but I truly believe at a place like Wisconsin, that matters and that's important. And I feel like they're trying to get back to that this year, but we'll see how the rest of the year goes.
We're up against the clock, Brady, on the way out here. Any predictions? Green Bay down in Dallas this week?
I like them. Tough game last weekend, back and forth and the field goals kind of, down the stretch, but I like the way they're playing. They're competitive and been fun to watch.
Yeah, I'm going to take the Packers. The Micah Parsons project returns to Dallas and takes on the Jerry Joneses. We'll come back, talk baseball, bull hunting, and bye-bye from the boys. Don't go anywhere. It's Todd on the Civic Media Radio Network. That was
bye
great.
Bye from the boys. Nice.
Bye.
Did you end up playing that the days after
yes,
you did?
Yeah, we're gonna play it on the way out here.
That's great.
Yeah, we played it. We ended the show with that Monday afterwards or whatever.
On Civic Media. For more than a century,
I kind of forgot how it went now, but
Oh, we got it. We got it. Yep, that's it.
treat cavities instead of cutting away cavities.
they got better. I think I texted you that. They got better at it as we started traveling home. They kept singing it, and they got better.
Like, stop.
Yeah, my head was about to explode. But yeah, they kept singing it, and they got better and better. They got more in tune. They kind of
Really?
Oh yeah.
Wow. All right. Well, we'll have to bring them in. We'll record something, and yeah.
Hey, who needs the license? Intro and outro music when you got
Exactly.
that can sing
Well,
something.
we got the Ewing boys, the
Acapella
quartet.
for you.
He has his own quartet, ladies and gentlemen. Now you could, legit, you could have your own boy band. Forget about the football. The boy band.
Who needs the starting five on basketball? We got the next Backstreet Boys.
Exactly. In sync.
Which one was your fave?
I don't know. Backstreet Boys are they both had hits that I remember. I don't know. How about you?
Oh, I'm in the same boat as you. I think Brittany was like strictly an NSYNC girl back in the day.
Really? Yeah,
Posters all up in her room. Oh yeah. Maybe that's your next what's worse, NSYNC or Backstreet Boys.
Wow, that's really good. That is. I'm writing that
You'll
down.
get some engagement on that one.
I'm right. We're going to give Brady credit on that one. I like that.
What do you think, Zomer?
I also think it's a very good one.
This time next year. If that proves to be the case,
Yeah, I like that a lot.
A major shift
All right.
in the center of power for Republican politics.
Yeah, clearly I need some tech help over here though, because I plugged like I said, I didn't have time to set up, but I plugged my microphone into the computer.
Right.
I got my Wi-Fi actually, or my thing actually plugged in differently, the Ethernet now. But it must have disabled my Wi-Fi.
Maybe we could, not today, but maybe we could set up a time when you have time and Zomer's and we could do a test run when we're not actually on
walk
the air.
through it. Yeah.
That's a good idea.
And then if it doesn't work, I don't know, we'll bring a techie to RC.
And that's because schools
Maybe Phil Meek can come over and help.
Right? No, not Phil.
He's not the
Maybe
tech guy over there.
Bo might, yeah.
That's where we learn to get back up after every fall. School sports are where 7.8 million students go from I can't to I can.
This message presented by the WIAA and the Wisconsin Athletic
30
Directors
seconds.
Association.
Gracias.
We taking you right to the close of the show today? It ends at 4, right?
Welcome back to the Todd Allbaugh Show on the Civic Media Radio Network. 8 minutes now before the hour of 4 o'clock. At the top of the hour, ABC or CBS News, depending upon which of our great stations you're listening to. Weather update with Brittany Merlot. Going to be great this weekend. Get out and enjoy it. And then the sports update from our great sports reporter, Mike Clemens. Lots to talk about. We're doing that right now. And by the way, also stay tuned for Maggie Dawn and Pete Schwaba following our fine program. And another shout out to my favorite oldest godson, Alexander Kohler, whose birthday is tomorrow. Have fun down there, Alex, with Keegan in beautiful Indianapolis, Indiana right now, talking with our ongoing contributor and friend, two-time Big Ten champion and NFL veteran Brady Ewing is here via StreamYard. Brady, we've caught Brewer fever, I think all of us, and I want to play and get your reaction to a couple of cuts here from Pat Murphy, who spoke with the great Bob Costas on the Major League Baseball Network over the weekend. We've chopped it up a little bit for time, but this is Murphy talking about the it factor, and that being Sal Frelick.
He's the it on our team. He's the dude that represents this is how you play the game. But what we have that people aren't understanding, I think, as much is we have the right people.
It's about the boys. Let's go. I know. Jack. Come on.
And we all got to follow the analytics. We all have to follow the data. I mean, that'd be crazy not to. It's information. But it's about people. The success that people think we're having, it's about the who. And the who is everything for me.
Pat Murphy, the manager of the Milwaukee Brewers, with Bob Costas on the Major League Baseball Network. Brady, you've been on championship teams at the University of Wisconsin. You played at the highest level in the NFL. What is it about the who, to speak to what Pat Murphy just said, the who, because I think a lot of us fans think, oh, it's about drills and it's about, talent. But this who factor, speak to that a little bit from a player's perspective.
I got goosebumps hearing that, and I think there's a ton of validity to it. The fact that a team, you can have the best talent in the world, and I think this goes back to the culture you try to build in a program, especially in college athletics today. But you can have all the talent in the world, the guys that test the best, on paper have the best skills and can go out and execute. Like, that is great. You need those guys, but you also need to have great team chemistry and camaraderie in order to go accomplish things, because challenges are going to come your way, and you can't quantify the value that the relationships, the tough things that you've already went through, and the good things you went through as a team, and just how you can rely on each other, band together to then go accomplish that next feat. And I would say in baseball, probably more so than any sport, in professional baseball, with how long their seasons are, the amount of games that they play back to back in nature. Like, if you're not having fun and enjoying the people that you're on that journey with, it's going to be a really long season. And clearly the Brewers are showing that. They don't have the highest salary cap. They don't have the guys on paper. They have great talent, but don't have the guys on paper that, should be able to go out and compete the way they are, but they're doing it. And I think that's a testament to the leadership in the clubhouse, but also the guys, because they live it every day and they've created that environment, clearly fostered it. And it's fun to watch. And I think as a fan, it's energizing, because you can tell they're having fun and they're enjoying it. They're not just out there collecting a paycheck, and they're truly enjoying the process and the journey together. And then that allows other people to get in underneath their wings as fans and kind of enjoy that ride with them.
Brewers get back underway tonight, 6:35, the broadcast pregame show. First pitch just after 7 o'clock. The Cincinnati Reds in town for the final 3 games of the regular season's. Crew needs to win one, and or the Phillies need to lose one to secure the number 1 overall seed and home field advantage throughout the playoffs. You can hear it on several of these stations tonight. Brady, let's give a minute or so. Bow hunting, archery season kicks off. I know you're a big bow hunter. This is a big deal for a lot of people all across Wisconsin. For those of you that do it, I only gun deer hunted, never bow hunted. There's just something special about this time of year.
Oh, absolutely. Especially as you start to get those cool mornings and those cool afternoons, it just starts to feel bucky, as they would say, or the bucks are going to start moving around. So there's nothing like a fall morning with frost on the ground. The sun comes up and it's just got that warm feeling to it. There's literally nothing like watching the world wake up in the woods on a fall morning when the bucks are running around chasing the does, and just being a part of that and just being out in nature, enjoying it. I know it's good for me to clear my head and all the craziness that goes on in our world and in our family with sports and just everything that we chase. And so to really just get a chance to slow down, it's some of the most precious time. And now to be able to take a kid or two out with me and at different times, it's just been amazing to expose them to that and just enjoy that with them and see it from their eyes too. It's been really special.
Yeah, I think you're absolutely right. Again, so much of hunting and things, I think for both of us, is the outdoors, being outside, time with the people that you care about, that meditation. It goes far beyond the hunting to it.
For me too.
And yeah, Zombers does that as well. I want to get to this. Speaking of just hunting and getting outside and spending time with family, we got to go down to the Brewers game with your family here recently. That was just a heck of a lot of fun, and appreciate that time together. And your boys were, I know you're trying to get the starting 5. I know you and your wife have said no more kids, but you got 4. But I'm thinking, Brady, instead of a starting 5 with basketball, maybe you have the next boy band, because as I got out of Brady's car vehicle here in Madison, this is the serenade of the Ewing brothers.
My Todd, we'll see you again.
Now that was fantastic. I've never been serenaded as I left an event.
It was awesome. And like I told you earlier, it got better and better as we traveled home from Madison to Richland Center. It got better and better as they fine-tuned it. So,
but Brady's like, why did Todd stay?
No, that was an awesome day. I appreciate you taking us, Todd.
Well, it was a lot of fun. Thank you guys for going. Brady Ewing, always appreciate you, my friend. Have a wonderful day. Hi to the family. We'll see you soon.
All right. Thanks, guys.
Yep,
Have a
thank
great
you.
weekend.
Brady Ewing, everybody. Two-time Big Ten champion and NFL veteran. Enjoy your weekend. Maggie Dawn is next. Wherever you're fighting for, whatever you believe in, keep banging your drum. We'll see you next weekend or next week. And go Pack Go. All right, everybody. Thank you. Have a good weekend. Talk to you later. Bye-bye.
Adios.